All right. Welcome back, my friends, to the A.P Strange Show. And today it's the A.P Strange Show with Jazz. It's brought to you by the Benoit Blanc canned red herrings. If you want some good old-fashioned red herrings, you can't go wrong with the Blanc kind. So get your canned red herrings from Benoit Blanc's. And tonight, this is a special swapcast we're doing with the Eternal Void, but with Jazz. This is a collision of worlds because I used to kind of co-host the Eternal Void, but with Jazz years ago, and it's back with Michelle and a wonderful new co-host, Gabby. Welcome, guys. This is your show too, so
yeah, welcome to you too, Matt or AP. Welcome to you too, AP. It is so great to be here and to have you here.
yeah.
At once. Yeah, no, I'm really excited about this. I almost spit my coffee out all over everything with the Benoit Blanc red herrings. That was just chef's kiss. That was wonderful.
Yeah. Oh well,
that was so good.
I was totally unprepared with the sponsor this week, but the sponsor came to me at the very last minute. So this is
Oh, that is beautiful. So I guess that kind of gives away what we're doing here today. You used to do or still do a theme show called Third Time's the Charm, where you get some people together and talk about the third movie in a series, right?
Yep. It was an idea I had for a show, and I always thought that's kind of too dumb to do as a show. And then I would think, wait, it's just a stupid enough idea to work, just covering the third movie in a franchise. But when I got around to actually doing the A.P Strange Show, I was like, well, some episodes can be Third Time's a Charm, and other ones can just be interviews. I can actually, it's my show. If I call it the A.P Strange Show, it's not the audience's show. I get to do whatever I want. So
yeah, no, and that is amazing, and I love it, and I look forward to everything you do with that. By the way, if you ever want to do a cooking show, holler. But yeah,
okay.
Like
maybe I can get you and Steve Berg on, and we'll do a foodie show.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
Yeah.
I could talk about some sauces. Anyway, so Third Time's the Charm. I saw that there was a new Knives Out movie over the holidays while I was down visiting family, and I didn't have anything going on. And I was like, well, I'll check this out. I vaguely recall the first one being mildly entertaining, and there's nothing else going on right now. So I put it on, and within the first 30 minutes, I was like, I've got to get with AP and talk about this movie because there is something here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And So that's what we're here to talk about. The new Knives Out movie, new as of like December-ish of like 2025. And I think it's called Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery.
Yes. Yep. Now, Gabby, had you seen the other Knives Out movies? Were you a fan of these at all?
Yes. I'm actually a huge fan of kind of like mysteries in general. And I was talking about the series with Michelle earlier, and I mentioned how it's a lot like our modern day Sherlock Holmes, but with sort of like a modern kind of campy twist to it. And yeah, it's a fabulous series of movies. If y'all haven't seen it yet, I highly recommend checking these out. They're so much fun.
Yeah. And I mean, especially where it's winter and you all were talking on the last show about how cold it's been. There's nothing better than like a cozy mystery on a real cold day, you know?
Yes.
Exactly. You want all like the twists and turns and red herrings and all of that.
Yeah. So now the Knives Out, Rian Johnson's work in general reminds me a little bit more of Agatha Christie than Sherlock Holmes. And I get that same feel. It's that cozy vibe. Like Agatha Christie books, if it's real cold outside and you don't want to go anywhere, you could read one of those like in an hour or two. Like a Hercule Poirot mystery or something like that, because they're very short. and they're engaging and they're entertaining. So you can just sit there and just gobble it up over the course of an hour or two, you know. And I love
Yes.
that stuff. And these kind of give me the same feel. It's an Agatha Christie novel. So
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And what makes them so fun is they're very thoughtful mysteries. So like it's not something where you're going to be able to guess who the killer is within like the first few minutes. Like you really have to think about it. And when the twist is revealed at the end, it's very satisfying.
yeah, I'd say it's pretty effectively done. So um, yeah, I guess one thing I like to do with these in general is just kind of talk about when I have guests on about the third movie is about the franchise, but this is like a really new franchise. Often I'm covering older movies or movies that had kind of a ridiculous 12 movie run or something like that.
Right.
So there's a lot more to pull from and a lot more history, but the first Knives Out only came out what, maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Just pulled it up. Looks like it
So
would released holiday time. They've all released right around Thanksgiving, and the first one released only in 2019. Wow, I thought it was a little bit older than that, but no.
right.
Um,
Yeah, so about 6 years, 7 years. Yeah. So um yeah.
yeah.
So I mean this is a pretty new franchise. And in the meantime too, Ryan Johnson is responsible for the Poker Face series. I don't know. I know Michelle, I had asked you if you had seen any of that. Gabby, have you watched that one?
I haven't yet, no, but I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, it's very Columbo vibes. Like
Okay.
it feels a
Nice.
lot. Yeah, Natasha Lyonne is essentially doing like a feminine Peter Falk kind of thing. To the point where it's almost really obvious, it's really obvious Columbo vibes going on in it. But it's great and it's entertaining in the way that Columbo is. So I love it. At least the first season was pretty solid all the way through. So yeah. Um,
Okay.
and I did want to mention too with this one, I didn't even hear about the third movie coming out until a little while back. I did an episode about Moby Dick. I had Joseph Matheny and Leah Prime on. We talked about the novel Moby Dick, and in the course of talking about it, I mentioned this church with the ship's bow, where the priest preaches from. The pulpit is shaped like a ship,
Oh wow.
and I had a couple of people comment that that was a thing in this movie, and
Yeah.
it took. So that's how I heard about this movie. I didn't even realize it had come out. Wake Up Dead Man came out until some people were talking about that feature of the church, but that seems like an obvious allusion to Moby Dick in a way, with the ship's bow as the pulpit. But yeah,
Yeah. Like watching this movie, I noticed a whole lot of symbolism left, right, and center, but I didn't even think about that pulpit and the ship's bow. I just, yeah, didn't even. I would love to hear more about like why that may have been an allusion to Moby Dick. I'd be so down for that. Like one thing,
yeah, I'm
like,
curious.
oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just agreeing with you. I'm saying
Yeah.
I'm curious about that as well. If that was purposeful, or it seems like it would be because that's such a striking image from the book. So yeah,
Yeah. Um, kind of, full disclosure, I have not read Moby Dick. I probably would like to. I'm a big fan of anything that mentions Starbuck. But
yeah.
yeah, like definitely need to check that one out. So I don't know if I could comment too much on that. Did anybody run in like have any like friends or family who had never seen any Knives Out movies? Like I was trying to tell people about this movie and they were like, well, I haven't seen the first two. And I was like, that's the beautiful thing. You don't need to. The only thing that ties them together is the fact that Daniel Craig plays the coolest private detective ever.
Yeah, yeah, he's pretty cool. Um, it's kind of hard to beat somebody with that kind of Georgia drawl, like
Yeah.
the cool Southern gentleman thing that he's doing. And in the first one, again, I went into the first one with zero expectations because I didn't know what I was watching. I just heard about Knives Out, and people said it was good.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Daniel Craig showed up, in the first movie, he's just kind of tapping on a piano.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's this guy's deal? And then he starts talking and you go, oh no, this is a detective that I'm just going to love right away. You know, he's like an instant classic. You're like, oh, well, here we go. Here's another character that's going to be burned in my brain forever.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I didn't know what I was walking into with the first Knives Out. I remembered there was a Radiohead song by the same name with a music video directed by Michel Gondry, who is like one of my favorite directors of all time. He directed Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and Science of Sleep and a bunch of stuff. But I had like Radiohead, Michel Gondry expectations going in just because that was my subconscious tie in there. And like, yeah, like you, as soon as Daniel Craig showed up, just tapping on the piano with that Southern drawl, I was like, "Oh, this is great." And yeah, and like, just for I guess moving forward, anybody listening who hasn't seen any of the movies, there's going to be spoilers, and these are murder mysteries, so listen moving forward at your own risk, for sure.
Right.
Like, oh, where was I going to go from that? My brain just stopped braining. Let me get it back on track. Chugga. Nope, I lost it. We'll get back to that in just a second.
Right.
Yeah.
It'll come back to you.
It certainly will. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So the first one, what I was going to say, and this is definitely going to come up more like in the talking about the specifics of the third one. But the first one, what really surprised me was like, there was some subtle shade thrown at like current events that I thought was pretty nice. And I was like, ooh, the script, whoever's putting this movie together is speaking my language. And that subtle shade got quite a bit less subtle as the series progressed. And I thought that was kind of nice.
Yeah, I think it was a little too heavy-handed maybe in the second one. Because the second night, the Glass Onion movie was kind of over the top because you're just like on Rich Guy Island with Edward Norton and stuff, and so I mean it seemed like they were going a little too hard with the social commentary, and it's like, yeah, I get it, rich people are awful, so it was like a pandemic movie too. It took place during the pandemic, so. And because they were rich, they got this like super vaccine or something and didn't need the mask, so they went to the island.
I love that scene so much too. Like the Edward Norton's helps like open your mouth and get this spray, and Daniel Craig is like, "Oh, is this like a vaccine, a disinfectant?" And the guy's just like, "Don't worry, you don't have to worry about the virus anymore." Daniel Craig's, "Well, look, tell me about it." The guy's like, "You don't have to worry about the virus anymore." And it was this whole thing. It was great. But yeah, my takeaway wasn't like rich people are awful from that movie. It was more specifically, tech bros are awful.
Yeah. I mean, Edward Norton was a pretty good like Elon Musk stand-in.
Yeah, he had like some Larry Ellison, Elon Musk, some Zuckerberg, all of them going on in that movie, and I appreciated some of the stuff that they were doing there. But yeah, with the whole like Mona Lisa stuff and all of that, it was a little over the top. I get it.
Yeah, for sure. It was sort of like all the characters were literally caricatures of people we kind of see in real life in celebrity and influencer culture. And I think that's why I really appreciated the third movie, because it's a lot more grounded. So like, even though it still has like that social commentary to it, the people in it, like they feel more like actual people and not just sort of like, you know who this is, you know who we're talking about with this. It's sort of like there's an actual characterization to them.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, for sure. And having it based within kind of like a Catholic church, like a remote church and the very small community that it touches upon, was a nice way to kind of bottle it up, but also have it surrounded by a greater community that you could conceivably pull characters from, you know? So, yeah. As opposed to an island in the middle of nowhere.
That was in the middle of the Ionian Sea. I'm just kidding. It was the Aegean.
Right. Yeah. Not nowhere, in the middle of paradise.
Right. what was I? Third movie. Brain has been not braining recently. Did anybody else catch this? This was shown to me after the fact by my brother. If you're listening, what's up? Love you. Thanks for showing me this. You remember the scene at the very beginning of the movie where they are interviewing the priest after he, the movie opens with a priest knocking out a deacon. It's amazing. But the bishops are disciplining the priest after that incident. And they're like in that, like what looks to be like a high school gym. They've got like the three seats and the priest is talking to them at the very beginning of the movie. You know the scene I'm talking about?
Yeah.
That is the same building where they filmed the Never Gonna Give You Up Rick Astley music video. So we all got rickrolled.
I love it.
I never would have caught that in a million years, but
somebody caught it and put a screenshot up and I saw it. It's like the same exact like windows and everything. Like Rick Astley just put like a small stage where those priests were sitting and it was the same shot nearly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Rick roll.
Yeah. And I guess that kind of is the jumping off point for the whole movie is he's being sort of reprimanded and there's something that needs to happen with this priest because he knocked somebody out. And then they kind of send him to this remote place to try to win people back to the church because they have sort of a rogue priest there who's super conservative and kind of runs the little church his own way. Played by Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Which was good because that guy, I don't know about him in real life. I mean, he might be a stand-up guy in real life, but he's a great actor. I always love watching him, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, he plays a scary jerk really well.
Right. And I mean, he was in Weapons last year. Did you see Weapons?
No, I meant to. I totally meant to. We even talked about it.
Yeah, he's in that, and he does really well in that as well. He's not quite as he's not like a big heavy in it, but he's like a tough guy.
Okay.
And I mean, I got to figure like he's getting older now, but I wouldn't mess with that guy.
No, I wouldn't either. No, there was a scene where he was kind of kicking the ass of the main character priest, and I was like, yeah, that looks like he might have actually hit him there, and that looks like there's some pain going on. I do not want to fight that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but jumping off, like the movie starts and that the priest, I guess we can just like say his name, Father Judd, who starts off being sent to this parish in like upstate New York that's being run by kind of this rogue priest. They've got two vastly different theological outlooks, right? Like the rogue priest, Father Wicks, Monsignor Wicks, played by Josh Brolin, is running this parish based off like fear and hyper conservative fear mongering and anger and divide and conquer. And like he's one point in time, like shown, he like his style was to like single somebody out in the congregation and just preach basically about what a shitty person they were until they get up and leave. And what that does is everybody else who doesn't leave, it solidifies their loyalty to this priest. And he's kind of like building this cult of personality by being just a giant like D-bag. And this other priest that gets sent in is the exact opposite of him. He's a younger guy and he's all about like wanting to just like preach like community and welcomeness and love. And I think, well, and it's no mystery to say which one of those are like a murder mystery, who's going to end up murdered here. It is Josh Brolin's character.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's kind of a redemption thing inherent with Father Judd because he's got tattoos. He had been a boxer at one point. He had like some crime in his background that's alluded to. I'm not sure they actually tell you what he did, but
it's pretty straightforward.
Was his
He killed a guy in the ring, so it was like not.
Oh,
like,
right.
Yeah, that was his big thing, and maybe there was. Yeah, you're right. There was maybe some other stuff alluded to.
Yeah. But he had this kind of literal come to Jesus moment where went to seminary and became a priest, So he's all about redemption and seeing the best in people, and in a way wants to reform Monsignor Wicks to do better. But I mean, the guy just is intractable and drunk on power,
Yeah, and like the first thing he does, like whenever like the new priest shows up, when Father Judd shows up, Monsignor Wicks is like, "Take my confession." And like for the non-Catholics out there, grew up Catholic here, like you go to confession and like you tell the priest all of your sins, and then like as a good Catholic, you're supposed to do this like once a week, and like you get a penance, and like everything is like confidential, blah blah blah. But this Monsignor Wicks just uses the confessional as like this not so subtle power play to just like, I laughed so hard because it was so unexpected, but just like starts telling this other priest like everywhere he's masturbated in like the last week, right?
Right.
And
that's all it was.
Yeah.
It was very explicit details on.
Yeah, I'm never going to look at an issue of Catholic Chronicle magazine the same way again. But it was like, it was such a power play. It was such like a dickbag move. And like, yeah, of just like, hey, like metaphorically and figuratively, like just whipping it out. And like, that's the kind of character Monsignor Wicks was. Until like, what was it? Good Friday, Holy Saturday. He drops dead in the middle of mass after like going into like this empty broom closet to like catch his breath, more or less.
Yeah.
And and then there's the mystery of who killed Monsignor Wicks during mass while people were watching mass and nobody else was in that room. And it's
right.
Then we get to meet like the whole cast of characters, and it's really interesting cast of characters they've assembled too. I admit to, like, as someone who suffers from chronic pain and some issues, I really took something from that cellist. Like I felt where she was coming from in a lot of ways. And then like, not to jump straight to the spoiler for her, but like, learning to play through the pain. I took that to heart. Yeah. Like I'm still like using that as like a little bit of inspiration for some stuff I'm dealing with. Right. So, but yeah, we meet the whole cast of characters, and like, there's so much we could talk about there. Like, there's a failed right-wing politician who's turned into a social media influencer. There's an alcoholic doctor whose wife left him for somebody she met on a Fish fan forum. And I love the running gag where everybody's like, Fish, like the band.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he's played by Jeremy Renner, which I think is kind of interesting. I didn't recognize him at first either. So
I did. Yeah, he looked like some things changed.
Yeah.
What's that?
Oh, like Jeremy Renner looked like some things changed since the last time I saw him.
Well, something has. He was in like a horrible car accident or something.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not know that. Wow.
I know there was a health scare. I think it was a car accident or something, but he was hospitalized for a while.
Oh, I was.
Yeah, it's like, I think like the car, like the vehicle, like was on top of him. Like it literally like crushed him. Like they thought he was going to die.
Yeah.
And he was like in the hospital for like months and months and months. And like, I don't know if they originally thought if he was going to ever like get his mobility back or act again. But thankfully over time he healed.
Yeah, it's good to see him back at it because yeah, sounded really serious.
Wow. So 2023, it was a snowplow. He saved his nephew from being run over by his snowplow, but was hit by a snowcat weighing 7.17 tons, 38 broken bones. Wow. Okay,
Well,
so
well, that's like a real life superhero move. That's crazy. It's
yeah.
like Hawkeye in real life.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right, like jumping in and saving somebody like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good on him. Well, I'm glad he's like back up and running and like getting work. I had no idea. Um, guess that
Yeah.
like, yeah. One thing I thought, like, I watched the second Knives Out after the third Knives Out. One thing I thought was kind of funny was that like Jeremy Renner brand hot sauce was like a plot point in the second Knives Out.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cute that he was in the third one.
Well, I mean, he tried to start his own app at one point, the Jeremy Renner app,
Oh,
and
okay.
and I don't really understand it. I've read about it and still don't quite get it, but it's an app just entirely based on him, and it didn't take off.
Okay, yeah, I'm got the Wikipedia up right now. Um,
I love that.
oh wow.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna be a failure, be a spectacular failure. Is the
Right? Go
business.
big or go home.
Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I feel bad dunking on the guy now because he saved his nephew and everything. But
Well, according to Wikipedia, there was a bug that somebody discovered that could make it look like Jeremy Renner himself was replying or was messaging you. And after several people were like abusing this feature, I guess to meme it, Renner asked the people that made the app to shut it all down. So
right,
yeah,
yeah,
that's wild. I was always like a big fan of like the Hawkeye comic and Hawkeye like Jeremy Renner, but I didn't know all of that about him. That's really cool.
yeah. Well, that's the beauty of doing shows like this is sometimes you kind of get into this like minute show with people and
Right?
discover weird little things.
Uh,
Yeah,
that's that's exactly why I wanted to do this. Um,
yeah.
that and y'all are just awesome. Gabby, there was some stuff that you were talking about that you wanted to mention about the movie. Would now be a good time to get into that?
Yeah. Since we're talking about sort of like the characters and like the characterization of like the cast. So like I guess we could start with kind of the dichotomy between, Father Judd and like Monsignor Wicks and kind of like how it really wouldn't like the plot of the film would not work as well if Father Judd was sort of like this completely pure, picturesque, priest. Like he does have that sort of, past to him as well. Because it really sort of like sets up this dichotomy around how these two men in power deal with their anger, right?
Mhm.
Father Judd, he approaches his anger as something that he kind of restrains and keeps controlled and instead sees his ego as something that he needs to leave behind when he's working in service as a priest. Whereas with Father Wicks, he's very much about like power and, being this sort of, charismatic leader who rules with fear and sort of like dominates his congregation. Whereas, Father Judd is a lot more Christ like. And this sort of dichotomy gets brought up again in an exchange between Benoit Blanc and Father Judd. So they're both sort of speaking together within the church. And Father asks Benoit Blanc like what he thinks of the church. And, Benoit Blanc kind of goes into how it's been used to control people, to kind of like manipulate people and kind of like what have you. And, it goes into how it's all storytelling, right? It's all about constructing these different narratives.
Yes.
And it really just depends on what people do with these narratives, right?
Mhm.
So like Father Judd sort of takes this idea of Christ as this figure who is very forgiving and very loving and uses that to sort of like find his truth. versus somebody like Monsignor Wicks, who takes it a completely different direction. So like it's all the same story, but they're taking it from different angles. And that's sort of where, you know, the abuses of power can come in, or characters can make the decision to push against that and show like a different side of the narrative.
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
absolutely.
I like
go
that
ahead.
you brought that up. Oh, I was going to say, I like that you brought that up because, yeah, Benoit Blanc is an atheist, essentially, you know, and he has no real use for religion. Um, but so he's not even really making any judgments based on the position of Monsignor or the position of priest. And he seems to, you know, it's a weird thing to do, to be the detective and have your one of your prime suspects just tag along with the whole investigation. Unless you're really sure they didn't do it, or you're really sure they did, you know. And it seemed like Benoit Blanc, who knows like how much he figured out when, but I think it's really revealing at the point where he's in the Monsignor's office and he's trying to get Father Judd to call this company to figure out when they had the tomb last opened or who ordered it. And Father Judd takes all this extra time because the woman's been having such a hard time, and he takes her confession over the phone or just like counsels her. And you know, prior to that, they were in a big hurry. You know, Blanc was saying, "We're in a hurry here. Come on, get the info," but then realizes that all of that slips away and falls to the wayside when Father Judd realizes the woman's in crisis, and he sits down to counsel her for like a long time. And that's a moment where Blanc is kind of realizing, well, he's a really good man. Like regardless of spirituality or anything else, he's got it. You know, he's got goodness within and through him. You know, so it's one of those the kind of defining moments where um, the spirituality, like you said, the story remains the same, but it's what you do with it, and actions speak louder than words, really. So Blanc is able to see that Father Judd actually walks the walk as well as talking the talk.
Exactly. And like what's really interesting is that sort of his methodology even rubs off on Benoit Blanc a little bit, because like towards the end, when you know Benoit Blanc kind of figures it all out, he really has the opportunity to kind of out the killer. Like he knows who did it, he knows what happens, and he stops short of announcing, you know, who did it, and really gives that person the opportunity to come forward themselves, which sort of is, you know, within Christianity, that's sort of like a big part of gaining forgiveness and absolution. It's sort of, you have
Well,
to admit to your own faults. Like you can't just, you
right.
know, like shirk responsibility.
Well, it's the grace.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, and he makes a fool of himself in the process because he kind of has to suck it up and look like he's been beaten, you know, and he hasn't figured this one out. And knowing he's being recorded by the right wing influencer guy, you know, so it's an egoic sacrifice on his part for the benefit of the killer, so that she can admit and have absolution for the sins she committed. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
and,
oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and yeah, just as a cap on that, we went this far and didn't mention that Glenn Close is the one playing the one in question. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Glenn Close does a phenomenal job. Like, she is perfect in this movie as who she's playing. It's quite
Yeah.
phenomenal. Like, reminds me of like, I don't know, like the 90s church lady from SNL, but a million times better.
But fleshed out as a real character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fleshed out as a real character. And like one thing I was gonna like also say a little bit to the cinematography that is really important in this movie. Like when Father Judd Duplessis was talking with Benoit Blanc about the power of narrative, you know, to shape hearts. Like the director, I guess Ryan Johnson, did some really cool stuff with the lighting in that. And like that was really cool. But also, like, we could circle back to that. But also, Gabby, I think you said Father Judd walks the walk. Like
AP said that, yeah.
Oh, AP said it. Okay. Somebody said it. That was something that I noticed or maybe noticed, but didn't really dawn on me. But there's a lot of scenes of Father Judd, more so than anybody else, like walking through the woods, specifically the dark woods, right? And I think that the cinematography there just serves to reinforce the overall narrative without words. And I think that's really interesting and should be worth mentioning.
Yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, in that church scene, like there's a one point where whenever Benoit Blanc's talking about like all the abuse and like misogyny within the church, like the light literally, it starts dimming. And it takes on this really sort of like cool tone. It's like sort of like this bluish tone to it. And then whenever Father Judd starts talking about his faith, he's standing in front of a window. And like the light behind him just starts, glowing brighter and brighter and brighter. And it almost brings to mind a lot of like the portraiture of the different saints, like especially in like Italian Renaissance art, like they're usually depicted with like a golden halo around them. And it sort of speaks to like his sort of spiritual conviction, even though he's not attempting to convince Benoit Blanc that what he's saying is true. It's sort of like he finds his truth through it. And that's sort of what is the takeaway of that scene.
That's a good point. Yeah, he's just purely speaking from the heart, and that illuminates everything. Oh, very cool. Yeah, every time, like when I first saw that scene and like the light, the way they were playing with the light and the cinematography, I was like, this is amazing. There's so much here.
When Blanc first shows up, there's kind of he's like a silhouette at first because he's standing in the doorway and the light's behind him, so you don't really see his features at first in the movie, so I wanted to bring this up. Now seems as good a time as any. What do we think about his hair in this movie? Because I kind of liked him not really, having the really short hair in the other movies. I thought that was a good look. I'm not sure how I feel about like the shoulder length kind of Benoit Blanc hair.
Oh, I thought it worked for his character. Like it was definitely different. But I didn't even really notice that it changed that much.
I feel like it was really short in the other movies. So, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, you're right. It was short. I'm looking at Glass Onion. It was short. Yeah, you know what? With the longer hair, I think it only works because he has the Georgia accent. I think somehow they go together.
Well, it threw me off because he kind of struck me as a different character. But yeah, when he starts talking, it's definitely the same guy. But I feel like part of the detective thing, like a classic detective character, is that they always look exactly the same when you see them one time to the next. Like, you see the balding guy with a twisty mustache, and that's Hercule Poirot. You see the magnifying glass and the the hat and everything, that's Sherlock Holmes. But so Columbo had his long jacket, messy hair, and cigar. These guys have their trademarks, but yeah, Benoit Blanc switches it up every once in a while, I guess. So.
Right. I wonder if there's like some kind of artistic choice to it. Like, I don't know. Like maybe he's just like starring in another film where he couldn't cut his hair, or who knows?
Maybe. Yeah. Could be. Yeah, I just thought it was a silly thing that I wanted to bring up. See if there were any thoughts on that. I think he looked better with the shorn hair, and I prefer my detectives to always look exactly the same movie to movie. But that's just me.
Well, If it's any consolation, there is a Screen Rant article about why he looks so different on this one. And we can take a second to see if there's a good reason.
Well, people pick these things apart nowadays, and that wasn't always the case, Like in the more recent adaptations of the Poirot stories, they came up with like an origin story for his mustache, which was never in any of the books, I don't think. So,
I love that.
Yeah. Is it because he got a scar during the war across his lips, so like he grew a mustache to hide it?
Okay. Oh, I love that. I love the way people pick apart media nowadays. Like, I know sometimes they can take it in like directions I wouldn't probably take it, but
Right.
like a lot of the times it's very fun and
it can get tedious, but sometimes it's kind of fun to conjecture about it, and come up with your own like personal narrative for it.
right? Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
media. I think it's supposed to be a little bit interactive, and that's the fun part.
Right.
Okay, so I just read like too many paragraphs of this Screen Rant article, and they don't know for certain. But they did point out that the last two screen adaptations of Sherlock Holmes by Benadryl Cucumber Patch and Robert Downey Jr. both had similarly long hair. So there's that.
Oh, well, yeah. Holmes had longer hair, and they kind of did away with the hat and various versions of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's another fun thing is it's driving me nuts that I can't remember what that type of hat is called.
Deerstalker?
I keep almost saying, yes, a deerstalker cap. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was never part of the Sherlock Holmes outfit originally.
Really?
There was an actor named William Gillette that used to play Holmes on stage, and he came up with the whole costume.
Oh, wow.
With the coat and the deerstalker and the pipe and the magnifying glass as props. None of that is explicitly mentioned in the Sir Arthur Conan Doyle books originally, but Gillette did it on stage so often, and then later in silent films, that people identified that specifically with Holmes, and it just became like the Holmes outfit. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. I had no idea.
I love that.
Right. And the guy has built a castle in Connecticut. You can still go there today. So I've been there a couple times, the Gillette Castle. And yeah, and they have like a bust of him as Sherlock Holmes. And actually, he was Pamela Coleman Smith's cousin, I think.
Oh wow.
Who was that and why do I know that name?
Pamela Coleman Smith, the artist behind the Rider-Waite Smith Tarot.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, so some of her artwork is actually in the castle in Connecticut. If you go up there and can look at the top floor. Yeah.
Oh,
we're getting way off topic now, but we're talking about detectives. It's still in the the genre, as they say.
Close enough.
Yeah, and just
this is fun because I never get to talk about like mysteries. I actually do really like a good mystery story. So, and it's not something I've tackled before in podcasts. So, it's fun to talk about.
For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Just to correct myself, as Benedict Benedict Cumberbatch. I've been saying Benadryl Cucumber Patch. It just came out easier. Anyway,
everybody knew what you meant.
Yep.
They did, and that's the thing. But I hate to purposely misname anybody, even if I'm pretty certain they would be okay with it. But yeah, like anyway, moving on. I want to visit that castle now. ADHD brain. There's really cool stuff going on there. What else? Gabby, what else was on your list to bring up? I
guess we could talk about did you guys notice how the name of the church changed from the beginning to the end? So like in the beginning, it was like, I think Our Lady of Fortitude. And then towards the end, it was Our Lady of Grace.
Our Lady of
And I think
Perpetual
that just
Fortitude.
perpetual,
Yeah.
thank you, perpetual fortitude. And then I think it's like Our Lady of Perpetual Grace. And I
Yes.
think just with that, just the name, I feel like that neatly summarizes what this film is trying to say. I think it's really trying to assert that, you know, whether you're approaching it from a spiritual angle or like an atheistic angle, like having like that sense of grace is sort of like what brings people together and what we should be striving for, rather than this sort of hyper individualistic, hyper kind of judgmental way of dealing with people and way of looking at people. Because the way in which Father Judd approaches all of the suspects is very different in the beginning from how Benoit Blanc kind of approaches them. Like it's very much about kind of getting to the bottom of the case for Blanc, whereas with Father Judd, he sees each person as an individual, even if they're, you know, they have sides of them that some of us would look at and, you know, maybe not approve, but even though they're not always like the best people, Father Judd accepts them with like this sense of love and understanding,
Right.
which is really fascinating and is sort of like put up as this ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that that's definitely a powerful through line for the movie. And as far as like social commentary goes too, I think there's an important message within grace is understanding like when to pick your battles too, and just like even if it seems like you're losing, like ultimately being graceful about it is more important. Like that's gonna be the long run win. But um yeah, and there's a lot of feelings of redemption and also just feelings of never being completely lost, you know. Even the right wing influencer guy that's it seems irredeemable. I think he's the one at the end of the movie that's coming back, like demanding to know where this precious gem went.
Yeah.
and um, and they're just like, well, I hope he comes around and stops being such a jerk someday, but he's probably not gonna.
Yeah. Yeah. Father
Yeah.
Judd was like, I hope you
Yeah.
come back to the church. Your true inheritance is in Christ.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it literally is.
Yeah.
Right. I called that part. I knew that was going to happen. I'm like, well, obviously the gem is going to be the Sacred Heart of Christ. It's going to be in, yeah. So, yeah.
No.
Yeah, he's got a knack for like fitting humor and good feelings into this stuff too, even though it could just be like really dark. And I think mystery stories lend themselves to that, like funny little moments. And I think a good detective has some of those kind of humor qualities too. And Benoit Blanc definitely does. I feel like he's more the star of the show in the first Knives Out movie, and in this one he's kind of coming back to that again. So I don't know. I think I'm probably going to fall pretty hard on the first Knives Out, and the third one being pretty great, and the middle one being less so. I might make several allusions to that, but yeah, I mean, he doesn't get to do as much of the master detective thing because he kind of points out the formula right at the beginning where he's like, before I do like the grand exposition of everything, like we're gonna play this all out and gather all the evidence and everything. And he's like promising that there's going to be the big detective moment where he gets to lay it all out for everybody, and then when that time finally comes, he can't bring himself to do it. You know, out of grace.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
That is. I kind of just got lost. Please continue. I don't know.
Really know what else to say. I mean, it like he really does. He really does kind of. It's amazing to see a detective come out of nowhere in a movie as recently as 6 or 7 years ago and just be like an instant classic. But he really does kind of feel that way. Like he's up there with like Father Brown or Columbo or even like Hercule Poirot, stuff like that. So instantly likable.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Like Gabby and I were talking about it the other day, and like I even said, like, if the 21st century leaves only like one thing to posterity, and it's the Knives Out movies, or the 21st century leaves only one thing to the future, and it's the Knives Out movies, like I could be okay with that. Like,
yeah. I mean, it'll be interesting to see if like 10, 20 years from now, there's somebody else doing the character, or if there's other adaptations and prequels and things like that, or plays. Because maybe he really will become in that lexicon of classic detectives. It's nice to have one, It's nice to have a new one that I haven't seen before. Because I'm just, like I said, I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. Like I was watching the more recent like BBC Father Browns for a while, and I was just kind of like hooked on it, watching Father Brown all the time, and it's just like, oh well, it's a cozy mystery. What are you gonna do? I'm a sucker for that kind of thing.
I'm not familiar with Father Brown, but it's just like from context clues, it sounds like it's something kind of cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, I mean, there was a detective that was created by G.K. Chesterton.
Okay.
Yeah, and the book all take place in the early part of the 20th century. This more recent series that they did takes place closer to like World War II, I think, or maybe shortly after World War II. But yeah, he's like the vicar of a small village with some very affluent British people who have a bad habit of murdering each other frequently. For such a tiny village, there's an awful lot of murders that happen there.
Very cool. Well, that might be a good place to wrap it up. We're at about the hour mark. How's everybody feeling?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. Are there any kind of final thoughts that people want to throw out?
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I like to do to wrap these up is go around the room, as it were, and as far as the entirety of the franchise goes, where would you rate this one as in comparison to the other two movies, I guess? So, Gabby, where would you place this in the hierarchy of them?
I think I'd actually have to place this as my top choice. I think this one was the most well-rounded, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a good. Can't say I disagree. It seems like he's able to. He had a couple tries at it, and they really nailed it on this one. Is kind of how it feels. Yeah. What about you, Michelle?
As someone who really liked the second one, I still agree with both of you. I think this is the best of everything from this franchise so far, and they really nailed the formula. I'm really excited to see where this franchise goes.
Yeah, I hope there's a lot more. And like I was saying earlier, you both are in for a treat with Poker Face. I think. I mean, it's it's pretty different, but it's also it's the same kind of cozy fun. Yeah, but a TV series, so there's way more of it. So
sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for indulging me on this idea. I had a blast, and I appreciate you both so much.
Yeah, thank you both for talking to me. Thanks, Gabby.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I always enjoy these conversations. They're always so much fun.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Hell yeah. Likewise. Y'all have a wonderful night, and thanks for listening, everybody.